Hey Bayek, it's me Ian. In today's video, well, I'm continuing my look at the third season of The X-Files. And this is episode 14, Grotesque, from 1996. Now, this is episode 14. Previously, we'd had Sijunzi, I can say, Sijunzi, and the next one will be Piper Maru. Now, this is a Monster of the Week story. It was transmitted on the 2nd of February 1996 on Fox Network, and on the 4th of June 1996 on Sky, and on the 13th of February 1997 on BBC One. The music is, as usual, by Mark Snow. It's written by Howard Gordon, again, another great contributor, and it's directed, of course, by Kim Manners, who between 1995 and 2002 directed 52 episodes. Wow, that is a hell of a lot, isn't it? Yeah. So let's go through the cast. We've got David Duchovny, who plays Fox Mulder. We've got Gillian Anderson, who plays Dana Scully. We've got Mitch Pileggi, who plays Walter Skinner. And then we have got Levani, who plays John Motstow. Levani was in Virus, 1999. He was in Independence Day, 1996. He was in Air Force One, 1997. He was in Tycoon, A New Russian. That was from 2002. Then we have got Kurt Woodsmith, who plays Agent Bill Patterson. He was in Staying Alive, 1983. He was in RoboCop, 1987. He was in Rambo 3, 1988. Dead Poets Society, 1989. Lots of films here. Star Trek 6, The Undiscovered Country, 1991. Fortress, 1992. The Crush, 1993. To Die For, 1995. The terrible remake of Firestarter, 2022. Which I do love the original. That was awful, that version. And then, another film I mentioned, how can I forget? Broken Arrow, 1996, is in that one as well. So those are the major actors in this story. The locations, as usual, North Vancouver, all around the studio. That's British Columbia, Canada. So what is this story about? Well, a series of grotesque killings are linked to an artist, John Motstow, who claims, as they often do, would be someone saying, to be possessed by a demonic entity while he was doing these killings. That's his claim. And Mulder and Scully are called in to investigate by Special Agent Bill Patterson, who at one time was Mulder's former mentor. And we can see straight away there's certain disdain for each other, and um, even though he's called him in, he doesn't like him. Doesn't like him at all. So what we are watching, that both are actually quite obsessive people. As we know, Mulder can be quite obsessive. But Bill Patterson, wow, he is very obsessed. And we see it quite clearly what it's doing to him. So this story is about obsession, really. That's what it's all about. And so what we've got, effectively, we see the obsession of the killer, but we are also seeing the obsessions which can happen with detectives doing a case. Now, this is bringing together some really interesting ideas, isn't it? About, and we do see this, how both killer and detective have these same obsessions. Wow, that is a great look at something there. This is a great idea to be examined, and we see it being examined very much in this episode. This episode is dark, full of horror, and it's interesting because it won an award, Emmy Award, for the best cinematography for a series. And when you watch this, you can see that straight away. This is dark horror, brilliantly done. The X-Files, this is what is great about the X-Files. It does sci-fi and horror so well. Sometimes we get more sci-fi stories, sometimes we get more horror stories, or sometimes we get a combination of both. This is very much a horror story. And I love the bit where they talk about gargoyles as well. Gargoyles are always interesting when you see them on buildings, these figures looking down. Oh, there's some brilliant images we see. And this Mulder, of course, he's there in the library investigating them, looking through all the books, the history of it all. And it's fascinating. I absolutely loved it. And I loved when we see these figures. It becomes fascinating how these gargoyles look down like they do. There's something very eerie, something very interesting. Why we have this kind of obsession with it. Absolutely love this story. I think it's such a good story. I rate this highly because it's asking a lot of questions, and it's bringing about within you, when you're watching it, questions yourself, because you're thinking, yes, what is the difference? The descent of the killer, but also the descent of the detective, the obsessions. And we know how sometimes people say that these people who are obsessed, particularly detectives, get results in that sense. And we've seen it in the X-Files that Mulder's character is and can be very obsessive. And in many ways, the good thing is that he's got Scully there to hold him back sometimes, or make him see the folly sometimes that happens in his obsessions. And that's always good. But to see this dynamic in the story and raising the question about, the killer and the detective, I think is absolutely a stroke of genius. I love this story. I thought that the fact that it's bringing out all that, we've got a dark horror story, which is bringing out a lot of philosophical ideas. I mean, what's not to like about this? This is just brilliant. I'm going on about it, but I think in many ways this is so much better than some of the previous stories we have seen in the X-Files. This is the X-Files getting back to doing what it does best, which is raising questions, but also bringing them to you in a really interesting way. And the writing and the script on this does that brilliantly. And it's very enjoyable. You can't help but enjoy a story like this. I'm full of so enthusiasm. It kind of restores your faith in the X-Files sometimes when we get weaker episodes. The first season I always loved so much, The Monster of the Week, and then it was finding its way, but it was so wonderful. And as it's moved on, you're thinking you need to get back to that focus sometimes of that, what originally made the first season so good. And this is doing both. It's giving you what we had in the first season, but he's also developing that because the characters have developed of Mulder and Scully. And then we're seeing it projected into the storylines. And I think that is wonderful. This is the genius of the X-Files in terms when you get a great script. The scripts are so important. And when they're not quite as good, then we don't get this, But this episode stands out. I highly recommend this episode. It's called Grotesque. Grotesque, that's the name. And fantastic. I just feel so enthusiastic about this episode. Please watch it. You can skip some other episodes, but watch this one and you see how good it is. Oh yeah, this is fantastic. Anyhow, I've been going on a bit much, but as I always do, here is the 3rd season box set, and fantastic. Absolutely love this. I'm kind of really pleased that we've gone back to sort of a script that is raising so many questions again. We get that some weeks, but this one really brings it home to you. I love it. Anyhow, I've been going on there for far too long. So if you're new to the channel, please subscribe and we'll let you know when I put out these videos. And you can see all the previous reviews I've done. Just look in the playlist and we've got them all in there, all the reviews that I've done. And if you've got any comments as well, please put some comments down. I love to read your comments, and give it a like as well. If you give this video a like, it gets it out onto YouTube so other people might enjoy it. And so that's it really. I do love to read your comments, so if you do have any comments, please give me your thoughts. I'll always reply to them. And that's it. I've been going on. So all I've got to say is I'll see thee again.